as all the conversations are focused in that direction, right, you will find that you are able to navigate conversations in the positive way, right? So every time somebody says something, it's at ground zero. What our immediate next question, statement, conversation, body language. Can you imagine in this class, we even we spent about 6 hours actually analyzing just that. Okay? Can you imagine?
This
Right?
can become a self-dialogue also,
It
right?
is what?
Our own dialogue,
Yes.
the way we conversation with ourselves.
Yes. Right? So this is the dialogic orientation quadrant. And any point of time that someone says something, your response will determine whether you are going to help them navigate the conversation in this direction, right? So now I give you another example. I don't understand, what on earth is HRDF trying to do. Ask for proposals, we had 3 weeks of no sleep preparing the proposals, and then now 1 month keep quiet. What would be your immediate response?
You can think in the box of 1 and 2 lah.
Yeah, the question you should always, that is why to me, ever since I started that class, which was after our training all was over, I started using this at the back of my mind. Every conversation, okay, Sunil, before you answer now, is your next tone, next verbal conversation going to move in that direction or this direction? So this framework is now stuck at the back of my mind. Right? So every response should fall in 1 or 2. And it makes a world of difference. Resourceful pass.
Oh, okay.
So if I were to ask, what would be the possible what would be the if your application or whatever submission has already approved, what will you be doing? What will you do next?
So see, her conversation, so when I said whatever I said was at ground zero, and then what you just did is you navigated me to the preferred future direction. Why? Because you made me think of suppose that it's already done and I got the approval. What will be my life? Now I will get so engaged in my dialogues in this area. I'll be reaching out to clients, I'll be giving them free training, they'll be very happy, they will learn, their company's culture will change, blah 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 blah.
Can I ask a question? Who can I approach to know the status of the application?
Okay, so that will be actually going in this direction. May not be very deep in your trouble, but you are still around here simply because you are trying to still talk about the situation, about the problem.
But I'm trying to find a solution.
Correct. So that's the problem solving approach.
Oh.
Right? So you are doing the root cause analysis. Root cause analysis will tell you that we have not gotten the approval. So that is why you are now asking the question, who will you go to get approval? Can you see? So that's the problem solving approach. That is why there's a huge world of difference between problem solving and solution building. What you want to do is to navigate conversation and the entire organization's culture in this case, right? To be very solution building, not only problem solving. Problem solving simply means every time there's a problem, you go solve a problem. Got problem, solve a problem, and by virtue of doing that, you are actually doing troubleshooting. When you do troubleshooting, firefighting, you will find that you become so exhausted, tired, because every day you come to work, it's all about solving problems rather than creating possibilities. Okay? I don't know what my kids are up to these days. What will your response be? Not that I have kids, but yeah, I'm assuming it's another.
Just reflect, meaning
through your observation, what do they enjoy best?
Ah, wonderful. See, what you just said is now moving the conversation to one. Alright? So this is one very, very important framework which, I'm not sure whether the last time when you all had the class we discussed or not. Right? But I know during your class we spoke briefly, and then the class of people that came for batch number 2, remember?
Yeah.
They got very in-depth knowledge. Hey Grace!
It's not. I want to see what they have another meeting.
Okay,
Come early, I'll try for now.
okay, see you.
Okay.
Alright. So because the other session happened post MCO, I had already completed 7 classes out of my 3 months program. So I already could share with them more in detail. Right? But this is one very powerful tool. It's called DOQ, Dialogic Orientation Quadrant. Right? So when you actually keep that quadrants at the back of your mind, and in every conversation you make sure that your response. You cannot control what people say to us, right? In the beginning of your coaching session, all of us are familiar with the brief coaching model, correct? BRIEF, right? So you build relationship, you review what's most important. You really cannot control what they say during the review, what's most important. But whatever they say will be considered as ground zero, right? Any question, any statement, any dialogue that we say after that will determine where the direction of the whole conversation is going to go, right? So the problem solving approach, a few times I've noticed, they will go from here, they will go deep into this, and then from there suddenly they realize, okay, now what do you really want to achieve? Where is your goal? Right? So from a psychology perspective, it becomes so emotionally draining and negative because you are going and diving deep into the whole situation, and then you ask me to think of a problem. It doesn't help. People feel that, hey, I'm helping you, I'm helping you find a solution. No. But the truth is, it's not a useful journey as compared to going from here, appreciating, acknowledging, and agreeing that yes, this is the situation, and then either moving here or moving here directly. But to get to that point, a lot of practice, a lot of experience will become useful. For me, when I went for this class alone, it was multiple light bulb moments. When I conducted that solution focused coaching training for close to 2,000 people last year alone, right? Going for this and learning this in depth was multiple light bulb moments for me, right? So I think this is one very important framework which I thought was useful. So be mindful every time that you are talking to people, right? Especially when you're doing a coaching conversation, right? Be very, very mindful for this dialogue, this quadrant, these 4 quadrants, okay? So our aim should always be preferred future, resourceful past, never to go down, right? That's number 1. Now, speaking of the what do you call career bit, okay? Because the time is so limited and career coaching is actually a full 2-day module with a certification on its own. So I'm going to extract the important part which you can take and immediately start applying. Alright? And career coaching tool itself, we have got about 5 or 6 different modules. Alright? So I'm going to talk about now. See, this is something that I got from a website called Talent Guide. Why career coaching? Right? Career coaching is such a big thing in Singapore. There are professional coaches who survive by doing only career coaching. In Malaysia, career coaching is, I would say, a virgin industry. There are very, very few people who actually do it. Right? And Malaysia was not ready for this. Right now, we have got about 130, 140 people who have completed the Solution Focused Career Coach certification program, and we have already cumulatively clocked in about 3,000-4,000 hours, especially now because a lot of people are being retrenched, they got no jobs and all. So we started organizing a lot of all these free career coaching sessions. In fact, this morning I went for a meeting with HRDF. They asked me, do you have more coaches who can step in and help us to do career coaching or not? I immediately volunteered. So I will soon reach out to our WhatsApp group and say, guys, anyone want to volunteer to be career coaches or not for HRDF, and I hope you all know. Right? So the whole point is, number 1, when you do career coaching, is to do, number 1, help that person discover their strength, help them recognize their goodness and greatness, especially in the cases of retrenchment. Right? Suppose Berjaya has no choice due to circumstances, a need to now retrench. You need to be so masterful in conveying, number one, the message that that person needs to leave. Right? Can you imagine someone's rice bowl is affected now, right? So the way you have the conversation with them. Number two, even when the people are in the organization, how and what sort of career conversations are we having to help them propagate and move forward? Right? Because people, when they cannot see a clear career path, chances are high that they will slowly start looking out for other opportunities. Especially with the younger generation, the career path is so important. I need to know that, okay, 3 years down the road, where will I be? How much will I possibly earn? You know, what's my journey ahead looking like and all that. Right? So to me, this career coaching has become like a very big deal, especially after September last year, when I was asked by Ministry of Ministry of Human Resource and Ministry of Education to train up all the counsellors in Malaysia to become career coaches. Right? So that's why I saw the benefit even greater. Now, let's do a little bit of an activity. Maybe Sunny can join and Lawrence also can join. Okay? We need to have 4 people in a group.
4 people.
4 people.
Sunny,
Sunny, okay.
4 people in the group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, come. So all 4 sit facing one another, right?
Facing one another.
Huh?
The group lah.
Yeah, the group. Yeah, 4 of you.
Don't know. He's coming.
Okay. So now you will need to identify yourselves as A, B, C, D, like we did in the class last time. Okay, one person plays the role of A, one person B, one person C, one person D. Okay. So person A automatically, as always, will become the coach. Okay.
The certified coach.
Right. So the coach will ask this question:
Excited.
what are you most excited about your career? So when you ask that question, right, it can be a career that is currently there, or it could be a career that you are envisioning. Right? That is why the wordings have been structured in such a way. Right? So what are you most excited about your career? Then the client will think and respond. Alright? And then D will say words like wow, amazing, awesome. And then C, and then D will now become the curious cat. So the curious cat will now ask what else. Right? So like that, you will actually do up to the person B. So in this case, who is person B? Okay. Until person B discovers 5. Again, in view of time lah, because normally in the class I actually go up to 120. Alright? But I just want to give 5 items
Excited.
that you are most excited when you are about your career.
Dia B lah.
No
Okay.
lah. You answer the.
Okay? Alright. So, then after you answer 1, then you will like, wow, that's wonderful, amazing. Words of encouragement and all that.
I pun nak ikut.
Put the pattern lah. Alright.
Later, okay?
Okay? And then what you would do is ask him what else. So he will now start thinking.
Lagi
about it.
senang.
Bro, yang paling senang ialah Sania. Satu soalan saja. Don't worry, everybody will get a turn.
So this is an example lah.
Yeah, so start.
Only one question.
Only one question.
Siwai.
Only one question.
That's Siwai.
There.
Is he coming?
Ya, sudah.
Itu Siwai ke?
Ha.
Kenapa dia pergi sana?
Dia ambil air. Dia bilik air. Macam guru besar.
Guru besar pada guru besar.
Say do something that can like.
Oh, okay. So I ask the question lah.
Yeah, lah.
Okay, come, start.
What do you most excited about your career?
Meet people.
Wow. What else?
opportunities. There's a lot of networking opportunities.
Awesome, that's good.
Anything else?
Wait, jangan tanya anything else.
Oh, cannot. Oh, what
Close
else?
ended question.
Can I ask? Can you describe more?
Can you describe more?
Then what else?
See, the word anything else
No.
versus what else.
Anything else? You can say no more.
Correct.
What else also can lah. What else?
What
no
else?
more?
So, but normally when you use the word what else, you are still making the person think. But you say anything else, the automatic response become faster for a close-ended question.
Closely,
I'd like to ask, are you is there anything else
No.
you would like to tell me?
Close-ended. Close-ended.
Standard.
So a what close-ended question? Remember the 16 coaching skills that we covered?
lupa.
Very honest.
Knowledge sudah pulangkan balik cikgu. Okay, so one of them is
Wait, bawa ke?
So lupa.
one of the most important one is what you call never ask a coaching never ask a close-ended question. Selalu tanya open-ended because then you make that person think and respond. Okay, alright, good. Next.
What
Kau
else?
dua kan? What else?
What
Okay.
else?
Making new friends. Making new friends.
Fantastic.
What else?
Nothing else.
Cannot say anything else. Please share more.
Let's share more.